This is why the death toll from Hurricane Milton could be absolutely catastrophic. Michael Snyder reports a 15-foot wall of water is about to slam directly into a major American city. And we know that some on social media, some of the people living in that area saying that their house is just 10 feet above the sea level. Now, 15-foot wall of water. More than 3 million people live in the Tampa Bay metropolitan area, and hundreds of thousands of them are very tightly concentrated along the coast. Most of them are attempting to evacuate, but there are apparently large numbers of local residents that are choosing not to do so. This is very foolish because their homes are about to be underwater. Sadly, many of those that are trying to evacuate are stuck in extremely long traffic jams. Those that run low on gasoline as they sit in those traffic jams are discovering that a lot of gas stations are already totally out of fuel. In fact, as you'll see below, CNN is reporting that 1,300 Florida gas stations have now run out of gasoline, and more gas stations are going to dry with each passing hour, whether willingly or unwillingly. That's numbers of people trying to get out, end up stuck in the storm, and the death toll is likely to be extremely high. According to the National Weather Service, it appears that this will be the worst storm to impact Tampa area in over 100 years. If the storm stays on the current track, it will be the worst storm to impact the Tampa area in over 100 years. The National Weather Service in Tampa warned, adding, Milton continues to pose a potentially catastrophic threat to parts of the West Florida coast. 100 years ago, not that many people lived in that part of Florida. Today, more than 3 million people live in the Tampa Bay metropolitan area. Early on Tuesday, Milton had been downgraded to a Category 4 storm, but then it strengthened again as sustained winds were back up to 155 miles an hour. Milton had undergone stunningly rapid intensification Monday, its sustained winds reaching 180 miles an hour. By Tuesday, the wind speed dropped dramatically, although still a fierce Category 4 storm. It climbed back to 155 Tuesday afternoon, just below Category 5 status. Fluctuations were expected as the storm closes in on Florida, said John Canglialosi, a specialist at the National Hurricane Center. And he says sustained winds are back up to 165 miles an hour as I write this, he says, and that officially makes Milton a Category 5 storm once again. This is very, very unusual storm. According to one meteorologist, Milton actually produced more than 58,000 lightning events in just 14 hours. The amount of lightning in Hurricane Milton is unlike any event meteorologist Chris Vagaski has ever seen in the Atlantic Basin. Hurricane Milton's eye wall, where the storm's strongest winds are exhibiting more than 58,000 lightning events in just 14 hours, according to Vagaski, a meteorologist at University of Wisconsin-Madison. That's more than one lightning every second, which he describes as astonishing. We have never seen anything quite like this before. Of course, the most dangerous aspect of the storm for those living directly along the coast will be the storm surge. It's being projected that a 15-foot wall of water will hit Tampa like a sledgehammer, and the mayor of Tampa is warning that those that choose to stay are going to die, quote unquote. The mayor of Tampa, a city that's in the crosshairs of Hurricane Milton, issued a grave warning to Florida residents who don't heed calls to evacuate ahead of the monster storm. If you choose to stay, you're going to die, Mayor Jane Castor bluntly said on CNN while talking about the dangers of Milton, a literally catastrophic Category 5 hurricane that's barreling towards the Sunshine State. A Weather Channel host named Jen Faragagno used CGI to try to show her viewers what a 15-foot storm surge would look like. Carfagno then let the simulation rise above 9 feet, well above her head. The raging torrent had hit the second floor of nearby homes. She said there are few places that are safe when the water rises this high. Current forecasts suggest Hurricane Milton could actually trigger storm surges 15 feet far higher than the frightening 9 feet shown by the Weather Channel. Most of the Tampa Bay area is just barely above sea level, so there will be very little resistance to a 15-foot wall of water starts smashing everything in sight. Thankfully, large numbers of people have decided to evacuate, but this is also creating traffic jams of epic proportions. Highways have been jammed for over the past 48 hours as over 1 million people evacuate ahead of Hurricane Milton, and time is running out before it's too late to escape to safety. Over 1 million people are under evacuation orders. Kevin Guthrie, Executive Director of Florida Division of Emergency Management, told AccuWeather on Tuesday morning. Mandatory evacuation orders have been issued in parts of more than a dozen Florida counties. We have more than enough shelters ready, Guthrie said, adding that people can visit floridadisaster.org to find out where shelters are open in their neighborhoods. Those that did not fill up their vehicles ahead of time could be in very deep trouble because 1,300 Florida gas stations are already completely out of fuel. Gas stations in many areas of Florida are running out of gasoline as residents prepare for Hurricane Milton. Demand for gas has surged as some residents in Milton's path are trying to fuel up before they evacuate. Others who plan to stay put are trying to fill gas tanks so that they'll be able to power their generators should they lose electricity for an extended period. Gas price tracking service GasBuddy reported that as of 2 p.m. Tuesday afternoon, 17.4% of gas stations statewide were without fuel, a dramatic spike from just 3% on Monday. With about 7,500 stations in the state, that estimate means that there are about 1,700 currently without gasoline. There will be many that won't be able to make it out in time due to this gasoline shortage. Meanwhile, those that do make it out are discovering that many hotels in northern Florida and Georgia are charging ridiculously high rates. A Marriott hotel, who was offering a room for 2 nights this week for $548 per night, or $707 for guests wanting to park their cars. Comparatively, the same room is available in November for $94 a night. Sad and inhumane, one person wrote. The woman who spotted the huge price difference, Susanna Collins, said she'd filed a complaint with the Florida Attorney General's office. It's morally wrong for hotels to be gouging customers like this during a major life-threatening crisis. Those who have decided to jack up their rates should be ashamed of themselves. Unfortunately, there are also large numbers of people in central Florida that have decided not to evacuate at all. In Riverside, several drivers waiting in a long line for gas Tuesday morning said they have no plans to evacuate. I think we'll just hang, tough it out, said Martin Oakes of Apollo Beach. We got shutters up, the house is all ready, so this is sort of the last piece of the puzzle. Ralph Douglas of Ruskin said he too will stay put, in part because he worries he would run out of gas trying to return after the storm or get blocked by debris. Some of those who have chosen to stay will find a way to survive, others will not. In the end, this is likely to be one of the most destructive storms in U.S. history. According to CNBC, it's been projected that approximately $175 billion of damage will be caused in a worst-case scenario. Hurricane Milton's once-in-a-century potential could cause damage of more than $50 billion, with the potential to leave behind devastation approaching $175 billion or more in a worst-case scenario, according to leading Wall Street analysts. And that would be on top of the carnage already left behind by Hurricane Helene, posing a potential record-breaking path of wreckage. As I keep reminding my readers, we set an all-time record for billion-dollar disasters last year. This year, I think that we will set another one, a new all-time record. We live in a time when historic disasters should keep happening one after another, and what is ahead is going to be even worse. This is our new normal, and it is not going to be pleasant at all. This is by Michael Snyder on the Economic Collapse blog. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. About the author, Michael Snyder's new book entitled Why is available in paperback and for Kindle on Amazon. He's also written 8 other books available on Amazon, including Chaos, End of the End Times, 7-Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophecies, Future America, The Beginning of the End, and Living a Life That Really Matters. When you purchase any of Michael's books, you help to support the work that he's doing. You can also get his articles by email as soon as he publishes them by subscribing to his Substack newsletter. Michael has published thousands of articles on the Economic Collapse blog, End of the American Dream, and The Most Important News, and he always freely and happily allows others to republish those articles on their own websites. These are such troubled times and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. If you have not already done so, we strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. Finally, support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.